Laver competing for his second Grand Slam.
You wanted to prove that you were a player that could compete in the amateur side and the open side.
All the great pros are in here fighting him as well as the top amateurs.
When I turned professional, I had Rosewall, Hode, Buchholz, Jimeno, McKay.
He's won 29 straight matches and almost 7 straight tournaments.
They're all champions in their own right. Playing them every night, it was a learning curve.
And Rod Laver rolls on towards the slam, towards the title, towards the $16,000 check.
They're not giving you freebies. This is money's on the line every time you walk on the court.
And Rod Laver has won it. He's the slammer, the Grand Slammer.
You know, there was a lot of things happening in this particular year, early in '69. So this is the Australian trophy. This is the first ever Open trophy, you know, in Australia, and of course it's heavy too.
Rod, you're number 1 seed. You've got a pretty formidable lineup of pros as well as amateurs in this group. How do you feel about it?
Well, certainly it's a great field, Rex. This is our first tournament here in Australia, and this is the first Open Championship. So this is, for me, it's going to be a very exciting event.
I wanted to play the first Australian Open. Before that, it was only been Wimbledon, the French, and the US that were open. And I told my wife, I said, I wanted to go down and enter all 4 tournaments. And she said, go ahead. And so when I got down there, she called me up and said that she was pregnant. And it was due on the final day of the US Open. This is a replica of the original that is on show down in Australia. I remember some of the competition was Stoley and Emerson and Roach, Jimeno. I know the one against Tony Roach went 4 hours.
Game, Laver. He leads 21 games to 20.
There must be some limit of human endurance.
One of the sets was 24-22, and that's a 4-set match right there. So,
Game and second set to Rod Laver.
this is right up there on top of my list of things that I'm proud of.
Et voilà, c'est fini. Rod Laver a donc gagné ici à Roland-Garros.
When you're playing the French on the clay, it's so different. It takes a long time to win the matches because you can keep the ball in play for a long time. And if you get too excited and start hitting big shots, all of a sudden, you hit yourself out of form. And all of a sudden, this trophy gets away from you. The '69 was probably the most thrilling, playing Ken Rosewall and being able to come off the winner. It was a thrill at the time, under the pressure. I felt like my only chance was hit the ball as hard as I could and with topspin all the time. Don't just go back into rallying and maybe playing many drop shots or things like that. Just hit out all the time.
Onto the center court came Laver and Newcomb, the world's 2 greatest tennis players. Laver was the hot favorite.
This is the Wimbledon gold trophy, and it's always a thrill to just even play at Wimbledon. You never quite knew how to play John. I used to always call him as the thinking man's champion. He was leading 4-1 in the 3rd set. He had a short backhand to my backhand, and I angled it across. He thought I would go down the line with my topspin backhand, and instead, at the last minute, I thought that wasn't going to work, and so I pulled it across. He looked stunned, and he says, "How did you think of that?"
Once again, the title had gone to Australia. Rod Laver was the king of the courts.
We were certainly in love with each other, and she came over to Wimbledon that particular year, and that was the only place she could come to. She was 7 months pregnant, and so that was a chance for me to, be with her and let her enjoy something as well. This is the US Open trophy. We did have a lot of rain was coming into Forest Hills at that tournament. Billy Talbot was the referee, and I said, the court is going to be damp and wet, and I'm slipping all over the court. Can I wear spikes? And he says, sure, this is the last match that's going to be played on this court. Tony didn't have spikes, or didn't elect to use them. Boy, I remember seeing the court when I finished. I almost was skidding in spikes at times. It would have been stopped if it was being played today's world. But that was the way things were back in my days.
Roach trying to make the shot. Roach is down, and every is the loser.
I was thrilled after it was over. I wanted to call Mary. I wanted to call home. As it turned out, Rick is supposed to be due at this stage.
His wife is expecting a baby any minute, and I think that $16,000 ought to hurry things along.
But she was 3 weeks late, and so I got home, and I was there for the birth of Rick. I'm amazed when a little kid coming from Rockhampton, out on the farms, and being able to travel the world, but I was thrilled to think that, I was able to see open tennis, knowing that I was able to compile a fairly good record and win a Grand Slam.
It's a great thrill to be standing here having won this last championship, and all I can say is that I'm the luckiest fella here in the stadium. I'm very pleased and very excited about this victory. Thank you.
They're dear to my heart, and I really enjoyed competing and playing all of them and winning Grand Slam. It is exciting and a thrill to have been through this era.
All you can do is be the best of your era, and nobody has made a Grand Slam since Laver.